So, can't really see anyone or anything, which makes it hard and interesting. But yeah, had a little bit of extra time this afternoon. We haven't had any sort of ad hoc live shows for a while, so I thought, hey, why not? Let's, a lot of really great stuff happened. We had Mars 2020 launch. That was pretty freaking sweet. We've got DM2 coming back, weather allowing, this weekend. Then we've also got SN5 just did a static fire, so that's pretty freaking sweet. So there's a lot of like epic space stuff happening right now. And I just kind of thought, hey, why don't we get together and just geek out over space? I also kind of needed an excuse to come back to the studio. We had a water issue. There's always some sort of bathroom problem on stations, I guess. And they had to do, like, we had a pipe burst effectively, and then they needed to come in, remove a whole bunch of stuff, do some mold remediation, and yeah, so I had to move all of this gear away from the wall, and I needed an opportunity to come back. And what a great way to test it! And, like, what better way to test it than going live and just geeking out over space stuff with everyone. Hopefully, y'all can hear me. I don't know that. Oh, hey, actually, this is working. I can't believe that actually worked. Boop. I think I can make this go. So, Harry says, hello. Does that show up on screen? Oh, yeah, it does. Cool. Ellen says, yay. Loopy says, hello. So, hello, Loopy. Lisa's on. Hey, Lisa. Mac, wow, you guys are just like right on this. I didn't give you any notice. I was just like, let's go live now. Oh, I don't know how to say this. Wait, Geometry-Pro. Yeah, that's what that is with a bunch of X's. Hello, Geometry-Pro. Lisa says she loves my shirt. Yeah, this is it's my, so when I'm at Company X, I tend to represent Disney and like my love and fascination for Disney parks. And then when I'm at Disney, I represent Company X and I wear Company X shirts or Tomorrow shirts. Generally speaking, having said that, I got a new wardrobe and it doesn't really have a whole lot of Company X stuff in it, so I don't know. Ellen Liff says, so much awesome space stuff. Astro Clubs need more space. We all need more space, right? Like, there's some epic space stuff happening right now. It's pretty cool. Missed. Grubby says, what's up, everyone? What's up, Grubby? Rarest Ace, I can do it. You guys are typing too fast. Rarest Ace says, yay, you guys are back. Well, kinda, right? This is just an ad hoc space hangout. I do want to, Thomas says, hi. Magic potato. Extra magic. And potato. You know what magic potato is? French fries. James says, why, hello there on this fine post-launch eve. And pre-landing eve as well. Eve? Not quite. Deepak Dolphin says, hey, Jamie. Junior says, hello from Brazil. Hello. Great to have you here. Johnny Spacer, ahoy hoy. Hello, Johnny. Awesome astronaut. Great space day today. Got the static fire in my, yeah. Oh my God, I was a little bit lucky because I actually forgot a little bit about Mars 2020 this morning. So I know I'm a terrible space nerd. I just have a lot of stuff going on at Company X. I'm kind of laser focused on that. And because of DM2 landing, I needed to be in fairly early at Company X this morning. And so when I woke up, they was like, hey, this webcast is starting, in 30 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah. And so as I'm getting ready, because that routine takes a lot longer now, I was able to watch the launch and then kind of watch it on my way into work too, kind of in the car. Wasn't that incredible? It was so awesome. Also, the Atlas, what was that? An Atlas 541? Yeah, because that has 4 solids. Just an incredible rocket. I hope I'm saying this right. Raziel says, hello tomorrow. You guys are awesome. Can't wait for the 150-meter hop. Me too. That's going to be amazing one way or another. Wait, there was a rainbow? Loopy says there was a rainbow. I missed the rainbow. Magic Potato says, please don't eat me. In fry form, I may. I do love a good, especially right now, some of the stuff I'm on, My body really craves sodium, so I love anything salty. Like if you eat something you're like, this is way too salty, I'm like, yes, more! What did Disney start the space program? When Disney starts the space program? Disney and aerospace actually go hand in hand, and they have for a really long time. Werner von Braun was actually on at least one of the Disney series with Walt Disney himself, talking about the future of humans going to celestial bodies like the moon. And this is prior to the moon landings. This is prior to the Saturn V. And so they actually have a pretty good relationship with space. One of the best, if not the best, space things that you can do, is go to Epcot at Walt Disney World. So go to Epcot and go on the Mission Space ride, specifically the orange. It's a centrifuge, and they do a great job of like doing visuals and putting you in the spaceship. It's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Nathaniel, welcome. Betty says, glad to see you. I enjoy this. I enjoy these too. I'm sorry I haven't done these very often, and I know that we all miss the live shows, and I'll touch on that in a moment. Yeah, I'm saying DM2 landing. I should be saying DM2 splashdown. You're not wrong. DM2 splashdown. Party the Martian says magic potatoes are the one grown on Mars. Yeah, or deadly potatoes? Not sure. Virgin Galactic store. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I almost forgot. Virgin Galactic revealed their cabin in like a 30-minute video, and like it wasn't bad, but I wanted more of the cabin. Like they did a lot of like, this is what we're all about. And I'm like, yeah, I know what you're about. I'm excited for what you're about. Show me the freaking cabin. And they did, and it is pretty awesome. Like I like how it's modular, so it can go between humans and cargo and both. So no matter what you need to do, you can just kind of like swap out a seat for a rack. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Juggling lesson says I missed the notification. Sorry, I'm late. I mean, we just started, and I gave you almost no notice. So, yep. Oh yeah, Johnny Spacer, salty and sugary carbs. Like one of the things I gave up when I went on diet, and I haven't really been able to have a whole lot of. Donuts. Absolutely love donuts. They would bring in donuts. Oh God. Mondays are fasting days for me, so I do a 24-hour fast on Mondays, and we had a launch on not this last Monday but the prior Monday, and they brought in donuts, and not just like any donuts, but like exceptional donuts that are like one of those donut places that has like a line that's 3 hours long and it's worth it. Those kind of donuts. And they brought in like the one donut that everyone wants from that place, and it was Monday. I was this close to breaking fast and being like, nope, I'm eating this donut, but I didn't, and I was proud of myself because that was hard. That was really freaking hard. John Ellis said, hey, I had minor elbow surgery, so I've been lurking a bit. So I hope it went all right. Deepod Dolphin, I've been getting ready for that 150-meter hop at least 30 times now in Tomorrow News. Me too. Oh yeah, salt and vinegar chips, they are delightful. Disney Space Industries, I like that. Jason Chambers, welcome. Long time no see. Welcome back. Max says the Virgin Galactic cabin reveal was so Disney. You know what? It was, and George Whitesides was in Spaceport America. Also, I just kind of love the subtle flex of their area of Spaceport America and how just incredibly beautiful it was and just gorgeous. I was like that whole experience. The whole experience is going to be nuts. I wish I had the cash money for that. Level 2 trading. Hey guys, long time no see. Good to have you here. EJ is that I don't know who EJ is. He's a huge Epcot fan. I am too. I love the experimental prototype community of tomorrow of the parks. It is my home park. I actually have a shirt that has the Epcot geodesic sphere, spaceship Earth on it. It just says home. Love Epcot. Oh, Loopy says, put the rainbow unprocessed in Discord. That I can probably get to over here. I don't know how well this will pop up. Oh, wow. Can I get this? How do I get this onto? Look at that. That's awesome. Wait, what other pictures do we have here? That's actually also an awesome picture. That is beautiful. Absolutely incredible. Also, I'm a little happy that I was able to just mentally really quickly go, wait, I can do this better. Let's see here. Marty has to go to work in a few minutes. That is sad, but bring this with you, maybe on a phone. Perseverance lands on February 18th. Yeah, it was February. I don't remember the exact date. I think it was 18th. Sounds about right. That EDL, always a nail, entry, descent, landing, always a nail biter. That's going to be fun. Johnny Spacer, my diet is keto. Fridays are carb cheat days. I gave up soda and a lot of sugars. Not all sugar, but because there's quite a bit of sugar in this drink, but I normally don't drink these. And the withdrawal I went through was pretty severe, and so I've been slowly working out carbs because I'm not a delight to be around when I'm stuff thing. Lisa asks if I'm referring to the white geodesic sphere, and yes, I am. Wait, Michigan, I did not know that Michigan is getting a space launch complex. That's pretty cool. Rat King, if someone came up with a functional aerospike, how much would the world lose its crap? Right? Well, at a minimum, the space nerds, we would all go, a functional, it can't just be a functional aerospike engine. It has to be one where the advantages of aerospike are actually seen, and that the engine isn't so heavy and so bulky that you null out all of the advantages of having aerospike. If someone built that, game changer, right? Absolutely, the entire industry would yeah, that would be incredible. Oh, Jason says, well, happy, not quite half birthday to your daughter, Jason. Don't forget to change the monitor off. Well, I don't need to. Oh, yeah, I do need to change this one. How did I do that? I have to randomly press buttons until I find it. It's on here. There you are. Thanks. I appreciate that. Darren says, last time I saw you, I was rewiring the studio. That was a while ago. We've got, we did pretty good. You can see a good chunk of the stuff behind me. Audio board moved over. Yeah, studio's doing pretty well. Kind of not in a lot of use right now with COVID, and then we had the water leak, which kind of prevented other stuff. So, yeah. Nathaniel, what software do we use to show the chat on the screen? It's something, it's the predecessor to something we're calling Cosmo. It's built in-house by TMRO. Cosmo is Chat On-Screen Management Operations System. It's a backronym, obviously. And yeah, it's hard to see, but this is my interface where I actually see all of your stuff, and I have a giant red, I have different colored buttons that do different things, and I just press the button and it magically shows up. It's pretty cool. Let's see here. Dan Thomas says, been a long time, Jamie. Yeah, it has been a while. So, yeah, let's talk about the live shows for a second, because I think everyone's interested about that. I've been wrapping my head around how to make the live shows really great, really exceptional. We've tried a bunch of different things throughout the years. And I think, so I think most people would say their favorite version was the 3-segment format, right? Where we had news in the front, the interview or the round table in the middle, and then your viewer comments at the end. And okay, I get that. The problem was, and I outlined this, but let me recap it really quick. The problem was news ended. I kept asking talent and our hosts not to script their news, because if you're scripting your news, what's the point of going live? like it's just scripted. There's no conversation occurring. There's nothing happening there. It's not compelling. It's just you reading something poorly to the camera because we're not trained talent. Also, we don't have proper teleprompters. And it's just a bunch of covering shots the whole time. And if you screw up because it's live, we can't go back and fix it. So if we're just going to script stuff, and that's all we're going to do for news, why are we doing it live? It didn't make sense. So we broke it out and we turned it into its own segment, called it Space News at first, and now we call it Tomorrow News for reasons. And that was actually wildly popular. It helped the channel grow quite a bit because it made it much shorter, made it easier to consume. It was scripted so we can, edit out our mistakes and we can actually like really fine tune it and kind of massage it into what it needs to be. But it wasn't live, right? And there's something magical about live. And I get that. So then what we were like, well, if there's no news, what do? We just turned it into an interview show. And those were fine. They weren't bad. They were really good. Lisa did a fantastic job of finding really interesting guests. The coolness of the show really was luck of the draw as to how good the guest was. But it wasn't right. You could ask a bunch of questions of your guest, but it wasn't this. Where was your connection? Like, it didn't exist. And it wasn't who we are. And so I've been sitting here going, how do we create this? How do we create this moment where we're having a conversation? I have said for the better part of a decade now, I want our live shows to be a bunch of friends hanging out, having a drink. That's what I want it to feel like. I like everyone who works in the TMRO studios is sick of hearing me say that. I say it in just about every post-show meeting, every single time. Whenever you look at the changes I'm making towards the show, it's always towards how do we make it feel like a bunch of friends hanging out, having a drink, right? And this is far closer to that than anything else that I think we've ever done. But this is wrong too. So I think what the answer is going to be is kind of what we did for Yuri's night. So like maybe one person in studio, but then a handful of regular other hosts around the world dialing in via TrueConf or Zoom or whatever I've got, and it's kind of like a constant roundtable, and I'll just kind of throw out topics. Like I'll be the moderator of like, all right, Starship serial number 5, what do you know? Let's talk about it. Ready, go. Mars 2020, what do you know about it? Like, what do you think? What's happening? What's this? What's happening? What's going on here? Right? So I think that's where the live shows need to be. I've also realized that I kind of have to... When I started gender transition, I definitely moved myself off camera. I wasn't comfortable being on camera. For the record, I'm still not at all. At all. If I'm being honest, I'm just not. That's part of, look, just frankly, that's part of the other hang up, is I've realized that I potentially need to be the moderator here so I can keep the show going. I found that I'm a pretty good decider. I have a pretty good knack for figuring out where the show is, where it needs to go in real time, keeping it on track and keeping it interesting and dynamic. Apparently that's a superpower. So I've kind of realized that I have to be on camera if I want this format to work. It sounds egotistical, and I don't mean it that way, but I just haven't found anyone, like I can't be the only person in the world who can do that. I just haven't found the other person, like someone else who can come on the show and make it happen. And so, Daniel, your equipment is astonishing and awesome. TMRO rocks. Thank you very much. So, part of why I'm dragging my feet is because I'm not comfortable on camera. I'm not comfortable with my voice. I'm not comfortable with my face. I am making strides every day towards that, and I realize that's me, and that if I were to ask the chat room right now, none of you would say, you'd be all like, you're great, you're doing fantastic, we all love you just the way you are. Because that's how the TMRO community is, and I love and appreciate every single one of you for that. But that doesn't make it easier, because I can still hear myself, I can still see myself, and I'll be honest, it hurts. It just hurts a little bit. So I've been dragging my feet. I have a surgery coming up on October 13th for facial feminization surgery. It's going to take a little bit of time after that for the swelling to go down and the bruising to go down. I've been actively working on my voice. It's getting better. It's not where it needs to be, but it's definitely getting better. So I think near the end of the year, you're going to start to see my personal ability to bring back live shows, and beyond the live show, moderating the live shows in a new kind of permanent roundtable format. I think the idea is we'd have, myself and maybe like Jared kind of here, and then one other permanent-ish host, and then a guest host each week, right? Someone that we can rotate in. So we've got just kind of these dynamic and interesting conversations. Now, I mostly won't be talking. I will simply be guiding the ship. So I'm not sure if I'll be in here or where I'll be, but I think my plan is to kind of like force the conversation to keep it interesting. And when it starts getting into like that PowerPoint, space is serious business and should be taken seriously kind of mode, I'll take it out of that, right? I think that's my role. I am still noodling all of this. I have a new theme song that I finally just approved. So we've got a new intro music, a new outro music. I'm working on a new open. So we'll be bringing back a little bit of an, kind of an intro and an open. So it'll be it'll be fun. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I think you all will enjoy it. I hope it would be worth the wait. It's kind of like going back to before we moved to the 3-segment format, when it was Carrie Ann and myself just talking with you and having a good time, right? Because that's what the show should be. Because if you want news, we got a news show for that. Why are you joining us live? Let's have fun. Let's curse a little bit. Not a lot, a little bit. Let's cheer over the amazing accomplishments in human spaceflight. Let's have emotion. Let's laugh at each other. Let's poke fun at each other. Let's have just a great time together live, with a shared commonality of enjoying the cosmos. I think that's what the live shows need to be. That's what the live shows need to be. That's what they haven't been. If you really honestly look at them, that's not what they've been. Anyhow, they got stuck in policy and process, right? What is the media for your segment? What is the script for your segment? How long is this section going to be? No, none of that. None of that. It's going to be just like a regular fluid dynamic conversation. It's going to be fun. All right, let me go back. Sorry, I know I just talked a whole lot. I was talking to the camera, to you, which meant I couldn't read the chat room. So let's go back and see how many people are like stuffing things. Okay. Darren says, we miss you. Thank you. Lucas said, if I had a drink for every time Jamie said that, I assume that's in reference to, I want it to be like a bunch of people hanging out having a drink. Yep. Which, by the way, I think this is a really good example of that, right? I feel like this is pretty good. It'd be better if there were a handful more voices in the room, not just me. Sorry, not just me, but like, you get the idea. Juggling lessons. I've started live streaming 5 days a week. I have a newfound empathy for how much time and effort is required. About 5-to-1 setup to broadcast. Yeah, it's, I don't know if people realize how much time and effort goes into these shows. Like, even the new show, like how much time and effort Jared puts in, it's large. Jason says, Omga, Jamie's going to have the tomorrow bar. I'm in. Oh, yeah, I would love that. I did stop fundamentally drinking alcohol. Not completely. It's just that alcohol turns to sugar in your blood. And so, again, it's that whole sugar thing. But especially if we do the show in the morning, maybe like a Bloody Mary. That might be a fun, like, morning show. Or maybe a little rum and coke, or not rum and coke, Bailey's and coffee. Anyhow. Kelly says, I've been enjoying the news shows, especially since you added space weather segment. Oh, Dr. Tamitha Skov is magical. And I don't think people realize how important space weather actually is. Like, it could have scrubbed the Mars 2020 launch this morning, right? Space weather impacts everything we do. And I love her segment because it makes it feel like our news show is like, it's like the news you would expect from like 15 years from now, when we have active spacecraft constantly going into space. How cool is that? I love that feeling. Lisa says Amanda Stiles would be a good host. Yeah, I think so. Whoops. Oh, actually, so that's not what I meant to click on, but that's a good one. Hollywood Squares format. Yeah, actually, I think so. So, yeah, actually, you've been playing with formats, right? So here you can see, like, I'll just take it to air. There you can see the triple. That can be a quad, and then I've also got a double. So we can kind of have, if two people are kind of talking back and forth, and if we need to insert the moderator, something like that. Obviously, this is wrong, and I belong in the big window. You get the idea. Okay, let's see here. Dan Thomas says we're finally getting the Soma bar. Carrie and I were talking about that the other day. We have no idea what's like that money's just gone. It's never coming. Marty's asking, could it be I'm overstressing about the live show? This live show? No. No, I'm not overstressing about it. I'm trying not to overthink it either. I believe community is key. I always have. I think that it's the people that make it up. I don't think it's the rocket that's important. I think it's the people that's important. And so it's not all about the numbers. The numbers are interesting, but like it's important to create a compassionate community, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. And I don't think that the interview show did that. And I don't think that a formatted, process-driven live show did that. In fact, it was moving away from what I was asking everyone to do. And so that's part of why I've taken a hiatus. The other part is just, if I'm being honest with you, it's me. It's literally me and my comfort level. And I know that it sucks that it impacts everyone, but it does. I'm sorry. Yeah, Johnny Spacer, I did like have many people on the set shooting the shit about space and science. Yeah, me too. Yeah, let's just have casual conversations, but let's include you in that conversation because you guys have interesting things to say too. I think your part of the conversation is just as important as our part of the conversation, but we need to be entertaining, right? We need to be educational and entertaining. We need to be fun to watch. You need to be compelled to watch and want to participate. That's what a Tomorrow space show should be. Specifically Tomorrow Live. I haven't hit 100 yet. Are we talking about like live viewers? Hold up. I haven't been looking at the metrics. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that's fine. I didn't announce this at all, so I don't expect many. Back in the day, and the other problem is that we've been off the air for so long for doing live shows. Well, yeah, many problems, right? Weird time of day. We've been off the air for a really long time, and I didn't do any pre-announcement of this show whatsoever, so it's only people who had notifications on, so forth and so on. Also, a lot of people got pissed off because we don't always talk space. Let's see here. Oh yeah, okay, so this is the part where I was talking about me. We're not on camera, we're just hanging out, but I understand. You're doing great. Thank you, you're doing great on cameras. Oh my god. The bar needs to have the Boca Chica band. This needs to happen. This needs to happen. Now I want to do this at Wavelength Brewery, where we can bring in the Boca Chica band. Oh my god. This is the shit I'm talking about. Wouldn't you love to watch this? Wouldn't this be fun? This is what I want. This is what I want for the live shows. Anyhow. Juggling Lesson says, me on camera is very valuable to me. I do appreciate that, but, you know, again, everyone's kind words, they do mean a lot to me. I'm sorry, I keep hitting my mic. They do mean a lot to me. And everyone has been really great. But there are a handful of people who are just horrible. And it's weird how the human brain works. Because you could have 100 people tell you, you're doing fantastic, we love you just for being you, we just want to see you on camera. That's undone by one asshole who decides to just be a troll and just dig in, and they know what buttons to press, and they know how to just tear your humanity down. And it's not fun. It's not fun. And I can say I have thick skin. I've done this for a long time. Those comments don't bother me. And that all of those things are true to a point. But, it's different when I'm in the middle of transition. It's just harder because I'm so laser focused on what do I need to improve? What have I not done right yet? Where am I at here? All of these different things. And then it's super easy now for someone to walk in and be like, I just dig into it and just like open that wound, and it's not fun. And I know that this is all my personal stuff and has nothing to do with you, and it does suck, but it will end. And it gets better every day. And I get closer every day. My voice is better. It's not where I want, but it is better. It's not where I'm comfortable being on air, but it is better. And it will get better as I continue to practice and work at it and evolve as a person. Let's see here. Thomas, this is very nice. I've always thought peak tomorrow is when you're in front of the camera, Jamie or Ben. And I think that is key. I don't know what it is, but I bring something to the camera that I bring a certain, maybe it's because it's my show, which is not true at all, but I bring something fun and playful to the show that I'm not getting when I'm not here. And I try to tell people, like, you just be playful, have fun. Like, you can do no wrong. But when it's not yours, I think it's harder to do, and you want to behave, especially when you've got, all the cameras are off, but when you've got like a full set and clearly, look at the equipment, right? Like, there's some pucker factor that goes into it when you approach here. But to me, it's not about, like, this is just what I do, right? So I don't think it's fair to other people, but like, I think when I'm on camera and I have the ability to then, because it's mine, it's not, but because it's mine, I have the ability to be like, no, I'm going to lighten the mood. And then I do, see, like, that was a bad sentence. And then I do, and like, everyone can kind of like release, and the pucker factor kind of goes down a moment. So anyhow, John, I'm not comfortable with my normal voice. Me neither. Thank you, Marty the Martian. You're great. You're fantastic. We love you just the way you are. Yeah, Johnny Spacer, going through transitions, going through like awkward early teen years. Yep, I get to do that twice in my life. Oh, Harry, you've been a member for 1 year and 1 day today. Thank you very much for your membership. I really appreciate it. It helps us to pay for these things, even while we're like in COVID and still trying to produce some content. It does help. It does help a lot. And we're upside down by quite a bit because we lost quite a few members. Understandably, like, we lost members, we lost patrons. I get it, totally understandable. But I still got to pay for everything. So that contribution helps a great deal. Juggling lessons, I have to go on camera all the time for my channel. I'm not nearly as good looking as you. This is not about looks, no, but it's about personal perception and how I perceive myself, how I want the world to perceive me, and how I don't see reflected in the mirror what I want you to see. I'm not going to come on camera and be this stunning, gorgeous woman ever. That isn't possible because I grew up biologically male, and I went through male puberty. And so the bone structure in my face, like, I'm going to have some of that taken care of, but they can't remove all of it. They just can't. And that's okay. But I still don't shine the way I want to. And I suppressed this for many years. 20 years. I suppressed it for 20 years. And when I finally let go of that, it was this whole ball of stuff that just came and hit me in the face. And it was really difficult. And it gets easier every day. But when you hold something back for that long, when you kind of kick the can and don't deal with something for that long, the issue doesn't go away, it doesn't get smaller, it gets bigger. And so instead of having to deal with a little issue from 20 years ago, I have to deal with this very large issue now. And it's all in my brain. I totally know it, but there you go. Kind of do a live show with Ryan. We should totally do a live show with Ryan. I think we should get Ryan's story. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Absolutely. I didn't ask if he was okay with that. I assume he is. We've got a time zone problem, but absolutely. I think that would be I think that would be fantastic. What about hosting in a Darth Vader costume and a synthesizer? Yes. Winning. Absolutely. If you want to know actual interactions, don't overproduce it. Just let it happen. Let people know points to hit. I completely agree. And this is why I feel like the 3-segment show was failing, is because it was being overproduced. It was, in fact, I'm not sure it should really be produced much at all. I think it should just be a bucket of topics so that we have something to talk about in case the conversation dies out. But if the conversation is going, don't even reach into the bucket. Just let the conversation happen. This is what we need to have, right? We're just a group of people interacting with you in the chat room because we have an amazing chat room system. I think it needs to be all of that. But then, like, you know, cutting between cameras and showing stuff and just having a fun time and laughing and enjoying ourselves. Let's do that. That's what we should do. Every ship needs a captain, but the captain doesn't need to be seen by... I need to be seen by all. Let's be clear. I need to be seen by all. This needs to be seen by all. Ooh, actually, this would be fun. Show your cool space shirt collection segment would be fun. Yeah, actually, we should have everyone like send over pictures in Discord or something, and then we could go through everyone. Like Carrie Ann would have that's an hour just with Carrie Ann, I think, at that point. PK, even my cat loves you. I find the lack of dark mode on your iPad disturbing. Okay, now to be fair, it is dark mode on my iPad. There is dark mode on the iPad, but this particular app doesn't support dark mode at this time. So, there you go. Marty the Martian says, bye-bye, everyone have fun. I probably got to that too late. And yeah, exactly, Loopy. The chat software doesn't have a dark mode. Not today. We have other stuff we want to build into Tomorrow. Colton has to build Tomorrow Cosmo to begin with. And then we can look at stuff like that. But yeah. Tomorrow brunch actually sounds like fun. Right? You want to have brunch with us? That'd be cool. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this is going backwards a moment. Nick says, I do love that you've set up the show to be like the news 50 years from now. I hope it's not 50 years from now. I hope it's like 5 to 15. If it's 50 years off, I don't have that much in me. 5 to 15. I think we are on the cusp of something great. We're at the tipping point. We are at the moment where everything changes and everything starts to accelerate and speed up. It's going to be incredible. We're used to these projects that take 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Look at SLS. That's the norm, right? It's all changing. Look at Starship. Yeah, I mean, it's only going for a 150-meter hop, but like, look at how fast that thing is developing. That's the new norm. That's what we can get excited for. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. I'm waiting for Tomorrow Lives to happen again. My Saturday lab work schedule is disturbed since, yeah, I know. Also, there's not a guarantee we'll do it on Saturday, although that was the most popular time during the poll, so, maybe. Let's see here. Darren says we've made our own mission control center. No, I mean, this is the video control room. This has been the control room for a while. The only real difference is when we rewired the studio, we added these 2 larger screens up here. Oh, and hang on. You know what? I'm doing this wrong. I have to step off camera. The microphone will still work. Give me a second. I have to do this. Sorry. I know, it's weird. But the switch for the lights is in the studio, not in the control room. So we'll do this. Do that. There we go. See, now it's going to look even more cool. At least it better. Hope it was worth that work. Yeah, hang on. And then this has to... Yeah. Right? That's better, right? I got a little... Well, there's not enough. There's a little bit of fill. Anyhow. Let's see here. Robert McAllister says, hope you're doing well, Jamie. I am. Yeah, absolutely. I am doing well. So, I'm talking about. I'm talking about this a lot. Like, I like looking at myself, but of course I'd be in the bigger square. You're not wrong. I think I'm doing really well. So I'm talking about how it's really hard for me to be on camera and how I'm not happy with where I'm at in transition just yet. But that doesn't mean that I'm doing poorly. I understand that transition is literally a transition. It takes time. And so when I look back even a year at my voice and my face and just all of my things, the progress is stunning, absolutely stunning. And I'm very pleased with where I've come from and where I'm going. I'm doing better than I have been. I think if you ask anyone who knows me really well or that I work with every day, I think they would say that I'm happier and lighter than I've ever been. Let's see here. Let's see here. I like this one. Yeah, I saw this in one. Oh shit, tomorrow's live. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name. Mugendi says, when you have too many people on set, there isn't time for the live interaction with chat. And I think the live interaction with chat's really important. I think the magic number is 4, and that's me as a moderator plus one other person out on set, just to kind of, whatever, and maybe not even that other person on set, and then 2 remote talent. And I think the other 2 people can't be on set. I think it needs to be remote, because when it's remote, it forces you to take just a split second to pause. Also, as the moderator, I can focus more on like bringing in the chat and bringing in your comments, and worry less about you really just worry about where the conversation is and making sure that kind of like at a party, right? When the conversation's dying and the social butterfly comes in and just like stirs things up and gets something going. I have to do that. 10 forward. Well, actually, so the other area is what we call the observation lounge, which would be R10 forward. Actually, this is a good idea. We need an episode where we do popsicle stick bridges or paper airplanes for challenges. Actually, a challenges episode would be fun. I also like the idea of like playing space games and space trivia. Like I enjoyed playing. I don't know if other people enjoy this, but I really enjoyed playing Quiplash with Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. And then allowing you to vote on your favorite answers, so that that brings you in, and then chat as well, right? So having fun competitions between the hosts as kind of a regular part of the show. It doesn't have to be Quiplash, but something where you get to vote or where you get to laugh with us or make fun of us. I think that would be fun. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Or possibly, yeah, like this is out of context, but still in context somehow. Yeah. Let's see here. Jason Chambers, troll, but the friendly kind. That's true. Mugendi, hopefully I'm saying that. Take a look at Kyle Hill's current office hours. He plans topics, talks about it, then discusses with chat, moves on to the next topic, and repeats. It really works. Yeah, I mean, I'll take a peek. Aerospace is filled with a lot of science communicators and really great people. So I want to make sure that we're adding something of value into the industry. And I think our value is that community and that place to just get together and just geek out and have fun, right? Especially right now during COVID. Like, what a horrible time for us not to be on air. This is the time when we should be on air. Okay, let's see here. Jared says, also, Jamie, it's been amazing watching you being you. I appreciate, I missed one. We have a new member also. Thank you. Kanoth, I think is how you say that. So thank you very much for becoming a member. I really, really appreciate it. Again, it means a lot to me personally, but then it goes towards keeping us on the air while you wait on me to figure out live shows. Now, obviously, Jared and Tamitha and Ryan are working on news, and they're still producing content for you guys. And I really appreciate all of the effort, because it is a lot of effort that they put into it. But I want to reiterate, live shows aren't dead. Live shows will come back. I think they will come back bigger and better than ever. I think you guys are really going to enjoy them, but I'm not ready. I'm just not ready to bring them back yet. Let's see here. Grubby asks, so are interviews still in the future of tomorrow? Your studio is optimally designed for it, and those were unique to this show. I learned a lot from those. Yes and no. So interviews as you saw them probably won't be a thing. What I think will happen is we're going to roll them into, the interviews will just become conversations. And so we'll bring on someone who's an expert in something. So I think I'd still like to bring on someone like Tori Bruno. So we'd bring on Tori Bruno, but instead of having like a one-on-one interview, we'd have just a casual conversation with Tori, talking about whatever comes up. Maybe we'll talk about space, maybe not. And I think that's, going back to the people thing, we're not sending rockets to Mars. We're not sending spaceships to Mars. We're sending ourselves to Mars. Even with Mars 2020, the Perseverance rover and Ingenuity, is that the helicopter? Yeah, those are robots, but those are robots built by us. Those are our blood, sweat, tears, dreams, hopes, aspirations, all built into that. It's people that we send into the cosmos. All the messy stuff that goes with it too. The politics, the religion, the love, the hate, all of it. And there's this weird thing in space programming where as soon as you deviate from talking about aerospace, people are like, well, I'm here for the science. Well, you should be here for more than just the science. You should be here for the people. And so we're going to have conversations that are hard, that you may not agree with, politically or emotionally or whatever. And that's okay. As long as we all respect each other and have a respectful conversation about it, we don't have to agree. Also, it'd be boring if we all agreed. You don't have to agree. But these are conversations we'll be having in our future. And they will be difficult. And a lot of people are going to get pissed off. That'll weed some people out. But I think a lot of other people will join, hopefully. Or I'll kill the show, one of the two. Like this could be the worst thing for the show ever. Who knows? You wrote it in a public chat, so I'm going to publish it, but I generally try not to do this. Inverted, this is very touching, actually, and means a great deal to me. I'm going to bring it full screen. I don't want to get too sappy, but when you came out of the closet on the air, I was absolutely floored, and you gave me the inspiration to start transitioning myself. I thank you so much for being you. Yeah. Holy shit. You're welcome. I'll be frank. I did it for me. I'm gonna be honest, and this isn't fair to the community. But when this is how this went down, at the beginning of 2019, I came out to myself, and then I came out to Carrie Ann, and that was a little while later. That was a few weeks later because I couldn't figure out how to tell her. We made a conscious decision not to tell the community of tomorrow because I know that there are a lot of right-leaning people, right of center, a little more red than blue, and I figured that they would have a huge issue with this. Now, I've come to find out that, I did not give people the benefit of the doubt, and I should have. Most people are great. It doesn't matter if they're red or blue. Republicans and Democrats have both equally supported me and been both equally fantastic, which shows my own preconceived bias, right? That wasn't fair I don't think it was fair to the community to keep you in the dark for as long as I did. And then I effectively removed myself from camera without telling you why, or at least I made up a reason. I don't remember what it was. It was bullshit. It just was, and that got me off camera. But I was still I was still here. I just wasn't on camera. I continued transitioning, and then there was something that forced my hand, and I had to show up on camera. Now I showed up in boy mode. But I had already started transitioning, so I'd lost a lot of weight, and y'all got really worried, which was actually very touching because, you cared enough to be people emailed me and were like, are you okay? Are you sick? And that was when I realized, I got to tell the community now. And the reaction was so positive and so warming. People either didn't care, which is totally acceptable and actually kind of a great response. Like, why should you care? It doesn't impact you. It doesn't impact the show. I mean, it is apparently impacting the show, but like, cool, you do you, boo, whatever. Or they were really supportive, right? And like, how incredible. And I should have just known that that's how the community would respond. But aerospace is fairly conservative. And in the industry, there are a lot of people who are not okay with what I'm doing. And so I was really, really worried. But you're all freaking awesome. PGA 18, people are messy. Yeah, but like, isn't that what makes us interesting? Right? Let's see here. Matt says, I'm outie. Love you guys. Goodbye. Like to shoot my original. What's your religion? This! Yeah, actually, like, for me, yeah. Yes. Actually, I would love to interview Bob Lazar. Look, he's one where I really like the story of Bob Lazar. And he is one of those clever individuals who has, like, his story has never changed. His story was filled with information that everyone said was, BS, and then decades later it came out, oh, actually, no, that's true. I find most conspiracy theorists, or most conspiracies, to be just very easily disproven, right? But not him. I love his story, and I love everything about this. I am not saying this is true, but I'm also not saying it's not. I think it's incredible. Element 115? Right? Yeah, element 115? Yeah. Darren says, I'm a great communicator, just keep doing my job at Company X. Now, to be fair, Company X, the communications portion comes from a different team. I'm the pixel janitor at Company X. Actually, so my real title is Principal Video Systems Engineer, I think, or Principal Video Engineer, I don't know. But it's basically I'm a video engineer, and my job is to move the pixels around the planet. So, the spacecraft sends pixels down to Earth. I then pick up those pixels and I move them to where they need to be. Maybe it's to the webcast, maybe it's to a mission control console, maybe it's to an employee's desk on the 3rd floor that's analyzing some bit of data somewhere, I don't know. I have to move it to their desk in real time, to your webcast in real time, and keep these objects online and in the highest possible quality, right? That's fundamentally what I do. When it comes to the programming on the webcast, I've purposely stepped away from that. I don't do any SpaceX programming on the webcast. I don't do the graphic design for any of that. The last bit of graphic design, actually, that's not entirely true. Okay. So for the normal overlay graphics that you see, the last overlay graphics I worked on were the flat ones that you saw, right? So they had like the colored clock that would turn amber when it stopped counting, and the flat timeline, and then like the telemetry that slid down from that. Those were my, like, that's what I designed. Everything that's on the screen now, that's not me. That's a totally different department. What I did, though, was I ensured that they created these designs. I made it so that they could actually be overlaid on the video. I injected the telemetry into them. I helped make sure that those timelines are correct. I put the data into them. So, that's what I do. I do a lot more of the back-end stuff. I don't do the storytelling over there anymore. Having said that, there is a new graphic coming up that I did work on that was kind of a last-minute request of, hey, we'd like to have this feature, and I had to figure out how to do the feature, but we didn't have time to get the graphic design team involved, and so I just kind of took some of their old backgrounds and just kind of slammed it together, and I'm like, this will work. So that will be pretty cool, but that's basically it. Terrence Shepard, who is Bob Lazar? All I can say is Google him. There's a video from an independent producer, and I would, because it's an independent producer, I really recommend, instead of stealing the video, if you can afford to pay for it, it helps him. He's not a large. He's a company of one sort of thing, and so if you steal the video, you're literally stealing from this individual. I think it's on Vimeo, but it's called Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers, or something along those lines. Someone in the chat room can. Yeah, Johnny Spacer. This is exactly what I think. He is awesome. I don't know. His data is incredible. It's just an awesome story. It's just an awesome. James Johnson, how is the data sent to the work area? Can you say? I don't understand the question. If you're asking how the data is sent on the screen, that's a little bit of old school space vidcast magic. You'll note that no one has been able to quite get it the same quality as Company X. Even with the new design, there's still the Company X designs, when you're looking at the telemetry and everything, with rare exception, I've got a couple of glitches in there, but generally speaking, it's pretty fluid. It flies onto the screen nice and smooth. The telemetry markers move up very smoothly. They come back down. It is real telemetry, by the way. We're not faking it. So the data, the clock you're looking at is real, and you can actually tell there are a couple of key moments. First, the clock stops before they even mention things, right? So the clock is obviously linked. Also, you can sometimes see the clock stutter. I think it fixed that particular issue. Never let it count backwards. So obviously the clock, but then the telemetry, there was, what was it, CRS-7, I think it was? So the clock is driven by the ground system, so it kept counting, but when the rocket was lost, the counter stopped. And they stopped because everything moved to, the telemetry stopped, and so did the counters. So that's kind of how I can prove, if you didn't believe me, that is driven by real telemetry. And it is absolutely. Alan, do I create video highlights? No. If it's content driven, it's not me. I don't do any editing. I don't do any story creation for Company X. I'm purely an engineer. So I work on making sure that the pixels need to be where they are. I am oversimplifying what I do, but there you go. But that's what I do. And it's for all sites at SpaceX, which is a lot because it's basically me. Yeah, this is an interesting point that I won't read out loud, but I will point to the screen. Now let's see here. Well, Darren, it's an honor for us to talk to you. I mean, for me, it's an honor for all of you to spend your evening with me, right? You could be doing anything in the world. I've talked about personal transition, which is amazing because it does actually piss some people off. And you go back and read Twitter, and they're like, oh, it's just turned into this transition show now, which I desperately try not to do. I try to keep it about space. But again, all of this is about people. And at the end of the day, Carrie and I did start this show, and so we are, pretty important people. Now there are other very important people on the show as well, but we're big people, and so, or personalities at least, and so when something happens, yeah, it's going to be talked about. Also, I don't feel like that's a problem. We should be talking about it. Not just that, we should be talking about kind of, personal stuff and how we feel and what we think, and how this is going to impact Mars and colonies, because as people, we're going to bring all of this stuff with us to Mars, right? When we colonize Mars, we're not leaving our problems on Earth. We're bringing them with us. So if I go to Mars with a bunch of hatred and bias, I'm going to land on Mars with a bunch of hatred and bias, right? And that's what I'm going to spread on Mars. So I think talking about this stuff now, there's nothing wrong with discussions. Just be civil. I don't understand why everyone has to fight and why someone has to be right and wrong. We can have discussions. Anyhow. I seem kind of down. I'm not down. I'm just saying that, yeah, okay, you know what, that is fair. I only cited negative examples of sending humanity to Mars. I don't think that, okay, fair criticism, because we will also be bringing our love to Mars. We will be bringing the things that make us great. We will be bringing our curiosity. We will be bringing our ingenuity. Well, that'll already be there, I guess. Actually, I suppose curiosity is already there too. We will be bringing both the best of us and the worst of us, I guess is my point. And so why not work on figuring out how to leave the worst of us at home and only bring the best of us? And I don't mean by selecting people. I mean by, as people, working on ourselves as well. Because it doesn't just have to be about space. It can be about the people that put space together. I'm harping on this point way too much. Oh yeah, exactly this. Fabiano, I think it's okay to have different opinions. We don't have to fight about, we don't have to fight about every little thing. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we're a pretty good community about that. Like, we don't really like trolls. Like, we kind of tell trolls to F off, except for Jason, of course. And he's the good kind. But like, yeah. Anyhow. Yeah. Jason. Sam says, you should make a behind-the-scenes channel. It'd be interesting seeing your production workflow and stuff. If you'd like to know all about the behind-the-scenes stuff, production workflow, as well as way too much information on my personal transition from male to female, search YouTube for Jamie's Bits, Jami''S, there's no E on Jamie, Bits. By the way, there's no E on Jamie because that didn't exist in my original first name. My legal first name still is, because the courts are closed, Benjamin, Benjamin, right? So all we did was we took Jamie, the Jami, out of Benjamin. That became my new first name because it was there in plain sight the whole time. Neat, huh? It also goes to the idea that I'm not actually a different person. And a lot of transgender men and women, they don't want to use their old names, their dead names, and that's fine. Like, everyone transitions differently. Everyone's circumstances are different, but for me, it was very important to honor who I was and who I was becoming, because who I'm transitioning to is very much so based on who I was in those experiences. Like, my experiences don't go away just because I'm taking hormone replacement therapy. Just because I go through some surgeries, my experiences remain the same. This transition should make me a better person, and it should be built upon those previous experiences, at least for me, because that's how it is in my life. I'm also very lucky that I have an incredibly supportive community. I have an incredibly supportive family. I have an incredibly supportive spouse. That is uncommon in my situation. I am obscenely lucky, but, you know, I am. And so, like, for me, these things end up being important. Dan says, I've told a lot of other LGBTQ plus friends about your name choice, and everyone thinks it's badass. Thank you. I do. I love the meaning behind it. The one regret I have, now, I did want to keep this mostly in space, and I'm sorry that this has turned into mostly about me and transition. Although we're interspersing. Again, this is an organic conversation. This is how these things should go, right? This keeps it interesting, right? The one regret I have is, so when I make up my mind on something, I do an absurd amount of research. For example, my facial feminization surgery, I did 6 to 9 months, I'm not entirely sure how much, of nothing but constant research to figure out what doctor I wanted to go to. You know, did one-on-ones with a bunch of different doctors, drove to different places. When I finally decided who my doctor was, I decided, I scheduled, and I paid for it all within like a 4-hour period. Once I decide, like I take a minute to gather all of the data, but once I decide, I go at full force as fast as possible. Same thing happened with transition. So, like, I came out to myself. I hadn't actually decided what I was going to do, so I was still kind of gathering data. I tell Carrie Ann, she reacts in a very positive way. If you want this whole story, that's on my YouTube Jamie's Bits channel. It's like the first two transition videos on there. And then that created a moment, as soon as she was very positive about it, that created a moment where I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, we're definitely doing this. So then I moved as fast as possible, and one of the first things I did was grab a name. And then I called my parents to tell them. And they asked me, have you chosen a name? And I said, yes, Jamie, because here's why. But here's what I regret. I bet they had female names picked out because I was born in the 70s, back before they did ultrasounds, like with every birth. So I'm not sure that they knew the gender of their baby prior to, well, apparently they didn't, prior to like, that much prior to, so they probably had boy and girl names picked out. They probably had their number one boy name and their number one girl name. I never asked them what they thought my name should be. I never even crossed my mind until after the fact. And then I went, well, shit, that would have been good too. Like, I may have still gone with Jamie, but like, I would have liked to know what they would have picked. That would have been nice. I might still ask them. Loopy would have been Megan. Yeah, being able to transition is modern technology, and it's amazing what they can do. Proof positive, like, holy crap, right? Like, just looking back at pictures, just go back to Orbit 11 and look at me and listen to me. Again, my voice and my face isn't right yet, and there are clear give. Like, I get that, but like, the difference is astonishing. Nick is going to work. Be kind to each other. Bye, Nick. Sup? I'm already sans Undertale. Sup, Sam? Let's see. Sorry, I'm just kind of reading, which I realize. Jared heads tomorrow behind the scenes to be walking back and forth in the garage and temporary kitchen. By the way, Jared, if you didn't catch it, the fact that I'm doing this broadcast means that I've put the studio back together. Actually, I'm doing the broadcast in part because I wanted to test and make sure that I properly put the studio back together. I haven't put the speakers back in, so you can't hear it, but you can see the VU meters moving. What other great, let's bring this back to, like, we got on transition, and I really didn't want to. I wanted to keep this on space. PGA 818 goes up and looks at Bob Lazar. That is a rabbit hole. Enjoy. Loopy says the Bob Lazar thing is on Netflix. Yeah, get, like... PGA 818, I won an Emmy, though, didn't I? Yeah. I have... Yeah, I did. I'm really lucky in life that I found what I was good at very early on, and I had a lot of amazing people who helped me embrace it. And I was able to go after some things, and I took some risks in life. Like, I took a risk coming out here. Keep in mind, when we moved to California, I took a pay cut and a serious cost of living increase. When we first moved out here, it was hard to pay for things. It was. And it took me a little while to build up to where I'm at now. Now I'm in a place where, like, we've got a studio that I'm effectively paying a good chunk of out of my own pocket every month. We've got a Tesla, and I've got an incredible wife. We've got a home. Like, we're good. We're in a good place. We're not, we're not billionaires by any stretch of the imagination, but, like, we're comfortable now. And that's because I was willing to take risks and had that incredible support structure behind me to help me with those risks. So, yeah, I'm just lucky. All right. Robert asks, do I have the Emmy or the company? The answer is yes. To answer that question, go watch some Jamie's bits and just pay attention to the background. Jared says, I remember y'all at Space Up LA 2012, and whoa, how far y'all are from that. Actually, that's an interesting point. Like, well, I think we all grow as people, right? And hopefully we grow and become more better, compassionate people, more willing to listen. Some people don't. Some people grow more closed in like, you know, they've learned certain things and, you know, that's just the way, and they don't, but I would like to think that most aerospace geeks, most people in the community are constantly looking to improve and improve everything, right? Improve our access to space, improve humanity's chances of getting to the moon and creating a permanent colony there, improve chances of going to Mars, improve the safety of these vehicles because you're going to want to go, always make things better. I feel like that's what we do in the aerospace community. Like there's a certain personality. There are actually two personalities from what I can tell. There's the one that's just like, oh yeah, we can do anything. Let's figure out how to make this go. Like, this is all awesome. And then there's a second personality, which is a lot more old school, which is space is serious and serious business is taken seriously. Meh. I'm not super fond of the second type of personality, but I understand it, right? Because human lives are at stake. Yeah, I'll just leave that thought there. The rest of that thought's not fully formed yet, so there you go. Our rocket, is this a true statement? Someone back this up. Are rocket engines as reliable as jet engines? Because I mean, most rocket engines aren't fired very many times. Like, you're not getting hundreds or thousands of cycles on them. So how do you measure reliability? I am beyond excited for this to happen, for Bob and Doug to come back home, for Dragon to move into operational capabilities, to move, basically to effectively remove the D from all of the... Jesus. I feel my face turning red. To effectively remove the demonstration from all of the titles. Yep. Yeah, I did pug lock a little bit there. Anyhow, to remove the demonstration from the titles and move to operational capability. So crew 1, crew 2, so forth and so on. I'm glad that you guys did not catch what I said. Oh, okay. Well, Loopy caught it. I'm glad that most of you did not catch what I said. You know, for the record, I laugh quite a bit about transition because I think it's hilarious. Like, the whole process is just funny. It's awkward, and if you can't laugh at yourself, then what's the point? So I do enjoy getting a good laugh over stuff like that, because it's oh, it's pretty funny. Oh shit, my smile hurts. You are all just kind enough not to mention. Oh, yeah. Because Dan says, oh, we definitely heard. Oh, man. Oh, it's been caught. Yep. Kelly says, well, Company X is really getting there in terms of rocket engine reliability. But again, how does one measure rocket engine versus jet engine reliability? Because again, a jet engine is going to have thousands of cycles on it. And as far as I know, there is no rocket company that comes even close to just a standard average jet engine in terms of operational usage. So how does one measure reliability? Like, if I fire a jet engine 1,000 times and one time fails, and I fire a rocket engine one time and it's successful, is the rocket engine technically more reliable than the jet engine? Like, what happens if that rocket engine would have failed on number 2, but we don't ever know because we never actually fired the rocket engine? I don't think that's a fair comparison. PJ818, I have the same sense of humor and prior. Yes, I do. It has not changed. Robert said, I burst out laughing. Oh, man. Miles traveled without issue? Oh, come on. Come on, Jonathan. Come on. Oh, man. Ooh, it's already 7. Sorry, I'm just checking all of the things. Whew. No. So all of these things, like, again, like fuel consumption, millions of tons. I mean, yeah, Jared Head, I feel like this is a better, my voice dropped after that joke. This is a better representation of, here, I think this is worth actually bringing on screen. If you look at a rocket reliability as a whole and apply that to flying in a plane, you're walking down the jet bridge into a plane that has a 1 in 20 chance of a catastrophic failure. Would you get on that plane? Honestly, ask yourself that. Would you get on that plane? Also, if that number is true, because I didn't actually fact check any of that, I just put it on the air. If that number is true, then like that's not good, and that needs to that needs to get fixed too. Ben Carter says, "Can you talk a little bit about what you do at your job at SpaceX?" Yeah, and someone else said, "I like Sam. Go back 20 minutes." Yeah, I mean the summary is I'm a video engineer at SpaceX, and so I move pixels around the planet. I take photons, turn them into pixels, move them, and then turn them back into photons. If I were to describe my job in one sentence. Okay, hold up though. I'm not sure this is an entirely fair statement. Even on launches that look flawless, trust me, there's plenty of things that went wrong that you'll find in telemetry. Maybe true, maybe. But one could make the same argument about anything built ever, right? Especially if you put that much telemetry on it or monitor it that much. Like, I would be willing to bet that airplanes actually also have quite a few issues. It's just that there are so many redundant systems, much like on a rocket, that those issues are kind of buried away, and you know, they don't actually become catastrophic problems. An issue, like, don't view issues as necessarily really bad things. You just need to have systems in place that know how to deal with them, because everything, including biology, has issues. Everything does. And trying to design a system that doesn't will lead to failure. So what you need to do instead of that is design a system that can adapt to the issues. Let's see here. We know where PJ818's priorities are. Jeopardy's on. Love tomorrow in the community, but peace out, Jeopardy. It was great having you here, PJ818. I hope you enjoy Jeopardy. Okay, that's a low blow. That's a low blow. Like, you know, not also. First off, this is why we test. This is why we have test systems. That's why there were not humans on board. That's the whole point of these exercises. Now, what I wasn't super fond of is they did this test. Let's be clear, they failed the test. They should have immediately said, we failed the test, we'll try again. There was talk of them being like, nah, it's fine, we got what we needed, we'll go to station. And I was like, what? No, you didn't. But they did. They came around, like, yep, nope, we need to redo this. And so they are. And that's what you should do. So, yeah. Mark SJ asks, will we ever get more pixels, videos, and angles from Miss Tree and Miss Chief while at sea? Unfortunately, I cannot answer that question as that goes into... if I were to answer that question, I would be speaking on behalf of Company X, and I'm not a spokesperson for Company X. And so I can tell you what I do for Company X, but I can't tell you any future anything. I can't tell you any plans of anything. I can't tell you anything other than I'm excited for the future of Company X. I can give you my personal opinions on things, but I can't really dive into Company X. In fact, it's why we have Ryan, D-Pod Dolphin Productions. Productions? Designs? Oh, I should know the answer to this, but I don't. D-Pod Dolphin Productions. Whew, I got it right the first time. He's here specifically because I can't talk about SpaceX. I just can't. And so I need to have someone who can. And so we create a firewall between him. Like we don't really talk. He really has to interact only with Jared, and that protects me and him and everyone else, so that there's never a time where I could accidentally say something to him or accidentally imply something to him. It's just not possible. And so, yeah, that's why he's here, because I just can't talk about this stuff, and I won't. Like, why would I put that job at risk? It doesn't make sense. Writing, am I writing a tell-all memoir for when I retire? Yeah, half of it will be transition-based, half of it will be Company X-based. Robert asked, did I watch serial number 5 do the little burp before hope it's going to do? Did I watch it do static fire? Kind of. I was in a meeting at the time, and it just happened to be up on the wall behind me, and I started hearing cheering, and so I looked over and I saw it do its thing. We all went, oh, that's awesome, and then turned back and continued our meeting. But yeah. Let's see here. Can't read the background. Fabiano, you don't have to talk about what blah blah, but did I work on the improvement of drone ship camera feed? Kind of. I will say that the thing that really improved it had nothing to do with my stuff. So it's tricky because I can answer that yes or no, because it depends on how you look at it, and it depends on what part of the chain you're looking at. Because it's not as simple as everyone's making it out to be. And it's really annoying because people are like, oh, this is the one problem and the one reason why the video cuts out at landing. And I look at that and I go, it's not one thing. If you solve that one thing that everyone thinks it is, it still will cut out. That's what people are missing. And so there were multiple solutions that needed to be deployed. The final bit wasn't me. But my solution did also need to be improved, which it was, but it was improved on Of Course I Still Love You, I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe probably closer to 2. And then on Just Read the Instructions, it was improved actually pretty recently. The Just Read the Instructions improvement from my standpoint happened when we brought it over the other coast. Did I lose my mic? Hang on. Hold up. Hello? This is why they don't let me do audio. You get to hear me rewire this. Is that better? Yeah, it literally fell to the floor. Aerospike says, it kills me that the person I used to go for SpaceX news can't talk about it now that I have inside information. I know, and it's really sad because I really love talking about it because Not because I have inside information, but because I'm so passionate about it. I just love what SpaceX is doing. And I really wish that I could just geek out. Like, I would love to geek out over SN5 static fires with you guys live and in real time, but all I can do is effectively watch like NASA space flights live stream with you and cheer along at the same time. Which, by the way, sometimes I do. Like if I'm at home when a test is going on, or if I'm just, whatever, I'll log into Boca Chica Gal and just, NASA space flight stuff. Or even a Tim Dodd the Everyday Astronaut live stream, which is why, I was really contemplating bringing back live streams, and I thought I had cracked that particular nut. But then I realized, I'm watching Tim Dodd stuff, and I'm like, what am I bringing to the table here? Like, everyone and their friend is starting to live stream launches again. What do I have that they don't? I could put some graphics on the screen, but nah, nah. They're all starting to do that themselves. Heck, even the Mars 2020 graphic blatantly stole my... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. Had the little telemetry dials in the lower left-hand corner. Guys. Aerospike says, but you're so good at it. We should do an interview video with Tim. Robert, we have a couple times Tim Dodd the Everyday Astronaut was on the channel. Yeah. That's the other issue. I have a name says Tim ends up repeating the same stuff every stream, but that's the problem. All the launches are fundamentally the same. You learn what an Atlas V 541 is, then okay, well, it's 5 meter fairing, it's 4 solid rocket motors, it's 1 Centaur upper stage. There's only one configuration that's bigger, it's a 542, but it's not really necessarily bigger, it's just more redundant. Like, you're going to say that every freaking time. An Atlas 420, it's a 4 meter fairing, it's 2 solid rocket motors. There's no 420. 420 is a compression. It's a way of compressing out color. If they ever try to launch an Atlas V 420, just know that second stage isn't getting very far. Atlas 444. It's the best. There's no loss on an Atlas 444. You can chroma key it brilliantly. Oh man. Oh yeah, 420. That's actually there's a second for those not in video production and who enjoy other things in life. There is a second meaning to that I hadn't seen. Atlas Rec 7. No, I would like to fly the Atlas Rec 2020. Oh God. That's how I know I've been on the air for too long, is when I reference an Atlas 420. Someone needs to pull that out and then send it to Tori and be like, I'd like to know what an Atlas 420 looks like. Atlas 316 says, I just launched to space and shot your... I don't remember what it is. That was a Austin 316 reference, right, Jason? Which, by the way, you're impressed that I got that, Jason, aren't you? A little bit? Sam is asking if 444 is a chroma key shaded blue. No, I don't have the time or desire to go into luminance versus chrominance sampling. But basically 444, it's actually 4, it's 4:4:4:4, which is how the first number is your luminance. So it's how, oh God, I don't know how to do this without like an image. It's how many, how the hell do you describe this in one sentence? It's the quality of color on your video, right? So most video systems that are compressed will be 420 or 4. If you're really lucky, they'll be 422. So they're throwing out quite a bit of the color because the color in the video signal is not important. The first number is the luminance, and it will always be 4. It really should always be 4. And in a 444 signal, you have all of the luminance and all of the chrominance. And in a 4444 signal, you've got all of the luminance, all of the chrominance, and an alpha channel that you can cut a hole against. Giggity. Is that a good way for video nerds in there? Is that a simple way of describing that without going into pixel sampling? Because that's a rabbit hole. Like, I'm trying to not go in. I'm trying to not dive into that. Yeah, good enough, right? I mean, again, very basic and mostly true. All right. That was a lot of sugar I just consumed. Let's see here. Deepod Dolphin does, I did get this little eyedropper in After Effects and the computer does math. Yeah, the problem is if you do that on a 422 or 400, that'd be black and white, I suppose, or a 420 compressed image, it doesn't have a lot of detail to work with. Oh, God, now I'm going to do it. Okay, so basically, when you've got, am I going to do this? When you've got your image on the screen, let's try to find something with more color, bigger. Okay, so you've got your image on the screen. The whole image, every pixel is mapped with its shade of white versus black, right? Its luminance value, how bright or dark it is, because to the human eye, that is the most important bit of the image. We can deal with color, whatever, but we need to see the differences in shade. That's what we're constantly looking for. In a 444 image, every pixel has both luminance and its chrominance values. But in a 420 image, what you do is you effectively, if you had this whole screen here, what you do is you take your color and you cut it in half, right? So you just basically take the screen and you kind of do a transform in half. So your color data is kind of squished to only this half of the screen. And then when you play it back, what you do is you stretch that color data back out on top of the luminance data. And because the human eye is so bad at picking up color information, it looks just fine to you. But it doesn't look fine to a computer, because now you'll have that nice, straight, clean edge inside of your video for the luminance data. But your chrominance data, because it's been stretched out, it's going to have little jagged edges going down that line, as opposed to a nice clean line. So when you try to do a chroma key and you take that eyedropper and you say, take out the color green, you end up with this little halo of green going down the arm, because that's not a perfectly straight line. And so you got these little jaggy lines. And so then After Effects has to do a butt ton of work to figure out, how do I smooth all of that data out? And it will do it really, really well, but never quite perfect. And that's the difference between a Hollywood movie where they spend a bajillion amount of dollars trying to do a really great chroma key on blue or green or whatever, whatever makes sense for that particular medium, versus trying to do it at home. You can never quite get the hair quite right. You can never quite get the lines quite right. There's always this slight weird hue that dips into the arm. They're getting better at it, but it's not quite the same. And it's not the same because they use if they're not using film, they're going to use a raw 444 image where every pixel is mapped perfectly every time. And so they can go in and when they say, grab that color green, it's going to grab it perfectly. And then they do other more advanced things, like because the green light will then spill onto the arm, they'll actually go back and they'll reverse that back out. They do a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I hate chroma key. Not because it's bad. When it's done right, it's actually really good. It's just that doing it right is really hard. It's really expensive. Actually, Aaron, that is correct. This video that you're watching on YouTube right now is 420 sampled, because it's H.264 compressed, and I'm doing it, and it could technically be 422, but I think actually YouTube no, it can't. YouTube recompresses it to 420 regardless. Also, they want a 420 input anyhow. There you go. Whew. There is a reason. Didn't know there was a reason to use green or blue background. There are a couple different reasons. Generally speaking, video will use green, and literal film, will use blue. And the reason for that is when you're effectively exposing the different mediums to that type of light, green is the strongest wavelength on the sensors for digital cameras, which makes it easiest to get a cohesive, great image. But on film, blue is actually the strongest, because it's a totally different process. This is the strongest color. There are exceptions to this, of course. If you have a lot of blue in your scene, you're going to need to flip that out for green, and vice versa. If you have a lot of green in your scene, you're going to need to flip it out for blue. But generally speaking, video devices are going to want to use green, and film will want to use blue. Digital film cameras still want green, not blue, because they are digital sensors, and that's just how the light interacts with the sensor. Hello, what is that? Oops. Shenandoah. Bayer pattern CMOS sensors sample green for their luma as well as having mostly green sensors. Yeah, and this is going to be generally, actually, the new Blackmagic 12K camera. Okay, that's a whole, okay, I'm getting way off topic. Yes, green, which is why you want green for video, most video devices, including the modern day like RED cameras, ironically. Also, you want to be as far away. So skin tone has a lot of red in it, regardless. It just has a lot of red in it. So you want to stay away from red because you want to stay away from accidentally keying into the arm. Oh yeah, Michael Biggs. This is a true statement. Film compositing is an art. Industrial light and magic has really done magic over the years. I fundamentally agree. That's why I don't like when you look at our set. I use practical effects because then I don't have to key it, and like the result ends up, I think, just looking better, and it looks less fake. It's obviously fake. We're not on a space station, but I feel like the effect works so much better. I wish it was an LED screen instead. I think that'd be so much cooler, but cost and power budget. Oh yeah, actually, I don't want to get into the 12K camera because it's really cool, and they said one line that broke my heart. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to put this camera everywhere because it will talk to the ATEM switchers. So I was like, oh, I can use this as a universal camera at all of my sites. It will do multifunction everything. It'll be the new standard webcast camera. And then he said, it's RAW only, no onboard color correction, RAW output only. And I went, it eliminated that camera immediately from my available. I can't use it now. I mean, I can use it in certain aspects, but you'll never get to see it live. And I'm live. Yeah, I hope so. Like, the Blackmagic 12K broadcast will come out at some point. That sensor sounded amazing. It really did. 14 stops of dynamic range, I think he said. And even if I'm not using 12K, even if I'm running it at like 4K at, what was it, 110 frames a second? 150? It was a weird number. It was 110 at 4K. I'll probably ramp that down to 100 just so it was a nicely divisible by 1,000. Like, how awesome is that? Joe, whoa, you're not on a space station? Hang on. Let me just show you guys what's going on out there. And you can hear how my voice has already dropped from when I began. It was doing really good up until I started laughing really hard, and then it fell down. And now I'm struggling to get it. I'm struggling to get it back up. Ain't that the truth? God. Oh man. All right, this camera, you can probably see me starting to power them up from the control room. Turn on this camera. They have nice new tripods. Yeah, here, we'll do this. That's a good idea. Then you can kind of see all of the things. Okay. All right, so looking at the set, I didn't actually aim the other one, but I can probably show you. Really? Oh, it is camera one. So like you can actually get a pretty good view of our fire extinguisher. Oh, you can actually see me on camera still. That's amazing. But like, yeah, you can see like kind of the back end of the set and kind of how we're emulating the sun. You can see that we've actually got some high-powered LED lights pointing backwards through the windows to try to illuminate at approximately the angle we thought that the sun would be hitting that graphic. You can also see how we actually kind of built out and curved that wall. You can actually, if you look at the bottom of the wall, you can see it actually goes underneath, but we didn't build it all the way down because we didn't need to. So we just kind of, built it down as large as the sheets were, and then kind of rolled it around. When I say we, I mean Dada. I didn't do any of this. It's all Dada. And then the graphic is mostly staying on the wall, and you can see all the different signatures on the side, right, of all the different guests that came in and were on the show. And there's actually another version of that on the opposite side of the set. Oh, and the baby Yoda, or the child, excuse me, on the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Actually, you can also see in that image where I'll walk out to it. Ow! I killed the mic again. Oh, that's how I do it. It gets stuck on the handle. Okay, that makes sense. It just rips right off. Yeah, that's exactly correct. This is the I'll rotate that around for you so you can see it. Sorry, I know microphone, sorry. Hang on, let me continue the tour here. So, okay, what was I doing? I was going to rotate this. I was going to show you. So we actually had the water leak right here. That's why there's nothing right here right now. They actually had to remove this whole section. So there used to be cabinetry that came in over here. There was a sink, and specifically it was a water heater over here that got damaged. And so they had to rip all of this out, and it looks like they actually didn't have to do too much. They thought there was going to be a lot of mold remediation that they had to do, but it looks like they didn't really need to do a whole lot. So why is that like that? Whatever. And then what was I going to do? I was going to rotate this so you could see, kind of coming in the other way. So that's the control room from the other direction, right? And that's what it looks like. That's what we saw when we were doing the news. So we would be looking at that wall, and then you were kind of facing out the exact opposite direction. So the camera was 180 degrees reversed the other way. Let's see if I can move this around this way. This is a view of the studio you guys don't normally get to see. Pull this out this way. Ooh, actually, I'll just rotate this one. So then if we rotate to the left, will I be able to? We'll find out. So then we kind of go in, and you can, I can't see the chat room right now, so you all could say whatever you want about me, and I would have no idea. Right, so then we got this. I have floating tripod for reasons. We've got the two different screens linked to everything. You can see, oh, by the way, you can see these are Quasar Science lamps. So these are actually LED lamps. I absolutely love them. That's an 8-foot tube. Ooh, 8-foot tube right there, and then those are 4 foot on either side. And yeah, that's it. And then above me, that looks like it's a Kino flow. Where's my arm? that looks like a Kino flow. That's actually not. That's also a Quasar Science, but it's in a Kino frame. But they just took a couple of their four bank LED lights and dropped it into a Kino. But now I don't need a ballast, which is really nice. Those are the other cameras, and then that's kind of the other side that you don't normally get to see. So there's an emergency egress over there, just in case we need to abandon station. We keep the chairs over there, and then we've got a little bit of acoustic paneling kind of sitting on the walls. And then all of those ceiling tiles, those black ceiling tiles are also acoustic paneling, because we're trying to do anything we can to absorb as much sound as possible in the studio space, because it's actually a very live room. So there you go. Here's a little mini tour. I can't believe those fish are still alive. All right. Ooh, I was gone for so long that the iPad went to sleep. Let's see what we got here. Boop. What are the objects sitting in the windows? We've got the child. I assume you mean the space station windows. We've got the child, and then we've got a Ultima Thule. In the other on the other window, I will. Oh yeah, I was supposed to put that up. Okay. I think I broke. Nope, I didn't. Deepak Dolphin asks, in the event that there was an emergency on station whilst on the air, what are the procedures? Run and yell loudly, I think is the... Jason, you're funny. That's funny. Rat King, HDMI or VGA? Neither. Everything we do is SDI. If you saw the cameras, I don't know that I can really... Rat King, I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are my religion. Oh my God, this is a great idea. I should put up a sign that says escape pod by the emergency exit. We do have the bathroom sign from 2001 A Space Odyssey on our bathroom door and all of the different steps that entails, and it's a little bit hilarious. I absolutely love it. Faye says that was an awesome mini tour. Yeah. Thank you. Let's go backwards a little bit. Joe asks, how do other space and video nerds in SoCal get to come in and check out the studio? So normally, Joe, well, that looks like it's Jason. We'll see. Yeah, like when we do live shows, we're generally open, but like COVID, right? So we can't have people here during COVID in the middle of a pandemic, but we'll eventually be able to reopen, and then just anytime we're live, we'd love to have guests here. Like I think it adds to the ambiance when you have people, like when you have a room you can play off of, I think it's even better. This is funny. Dan says, crap, I step away for 2 minutes. Oh, your witches turned Jamie invisible. That's funny. Oh, so keep in mind, there's no piece of the set that's missing due to water leaks. So what's missing is the it's just a little sink that we would have for, like, if we needed to get water or rinse out a cup or whatever it might be. It was offset, so like none of the set was impacted, and that was actually a little bit of a concern because you saw how close it is to the set. That was leaking for a little while because we weren't on station, and so that water started to intrude out into the main area. And yeah, like that water intrusion could have hit the set, and if it did, we would have had to remove that part of the set. And let me tell you, Dutta would not have been pleased. I would not have been pleased, but I think he would have been especially pissed because, like, the woodworking shop is gone. Like, yeah. If I call it Ultima Thule, I can still call it BFRR. That's fine. Johnny Spacer says, for live shows, Zoom, Teams, I actually use TrueConf. I use TrueConf for a couple reasons. First, I can get pretty good video quality out of it. I can actually get 4K if I have Windows to Windows and they have a 4K camera and they have a computer more powerful enough to do 4K. Now 4K isn't all of it, right? Because I'll take 1080 with a more fluid picture over 4K with a shitty stuttering picture any day. But if I can have both 4K and a fluid picture, I want that, right? But the other nice thing is, like, if you can get 4K and it's fluid and then you downscale to 1080, you get rid of some of that kind of like macro blocking that occurs, and it becomes a smoother, cleaner image. So you can kind of cheat the system a little bit. So I get really good quality there. It's also pretty easy to use as long as you're not using WebRTC. With TrueConf, you really need to use the client and not the browser, in my opinion. You can use the browser, but like, it's just not a great experience. I haven't played a lot with Teams. I did just sign up for a Office 365 edition for tomorrow, just from my own personal account, simply so I could play with Teams and see if that is a solution that I could deploy for tomorrow. Because I do have, like we've got, like, you know, here's a screen of video, here's a different screen of video. I know they look almost identical. Here's a different screen of video, here's a different screen of video, here's a different screen of video. Wait, I didn't hit it, whatever, not that you can tell. Here's another different screen with social. Here's a different computer. Like, look at all, here's an AirPlay system that I can bring in. Here's a Raspberry Pi that's broken. Hold up, we're gonna go fix that. So I think like you're gonna watch me fix this ISS above live on the air. I think what I want to be able to do is whatever our guest has or whatever is working best, I'm just going to use that technology. I'm not going to force them to use TrueConf. I'm not going to force them to use Zoom. I'm not going to force them to use Team. All of those things will be, including Skype. I'll also have Skype available. So whatever they want to use, you can hear the equipment probably back here. Where's the ISS above? Here it is. I wonder if I can get, this would be fun. I realize I should have gone off here a while ago, but this is kind of fun and we haven't done this for a while. Let me try to broadcast from my iPhone to the Apple TV if I can. All right, woohoo. Watching it boot. You're all like thrilling. All right, let's see here. Can I go screen mirroring, studio? Okay, like this. Like this. This is pretty not great. Let's see, what else can I do? Oh wow, none of this is great. It's really not fluid. So I'm trying to... Oh wow, it is not... That's not happy. So I've got my phone. I'm trying to make it like nice and smooth. I figured I'd grab like the camera, but like, oh, that's not too bad. That's a little stuttery. Hopefully you'll be able to generally see. This is a really hacky way to do this, but you know, it's generally working. So here's the equipment racks, right? So that's what it all kind of looks like when it's all said and done. That's a 4K engineering screen. It's just got a quick multi-view so I can kind of see like what's working and what's not. For example, the ISS above, Liam. Up top, we've got a Axient system. And then I use, for networking, actually you can see kind of some of the cabling. It generally looks nice. It's got a little bit like, you got onesie twosies that are a little not great, and you got a little bit of just, don't look at that part. Generally it looks decent, and then like that's the umbilical coming in, and then a little bit of stuff, but like this is what it looks like. There's the back of the video switcher, so that's a lot of stuff. So everything looks pretty decent, and then I've got like this just hanging here. Oh man, whatever. Right, so then yeah, I don't know why. Wow, that's actually kind of cool looking. Look at that. Now you got to see it inside of a constellation. Oh, and then for networking, I use Ubiquiti networks. Right, so that's their next gen switches. So you got the cool touch screens, and then Ubiquiti access points as well. Just because I think their stuff is amazing. And this is what everything's broadcasting out of. It's a Teradek slice right there. This is a record deck. This is the constellation, which is the video switcher. I've got a little NUC sitting over here. But tons of conversion. But tons of conversion. These always die. I think it's because the airflow goes this way and then these overheat. I don't actually know that to be true, but like it's annoying. And then Casper CG boxes, TrueConf boxes, and a bunch of batteries at the bottom. The battery, oh, and then my shoes. There you go, shoes. What else? Oh, and then we kind of cleaned up this area for the most part, except for that one. There's always got to be like one thing broken, just to piss me off. That was pulled out for like all of the stuff that happened, but that all got cleaned up nice and neat. And then that's where we edit stuff. That's where I print stuff. It's got a fridge with who knows what in it. Oh, let's do the fish really quick. If Lisa's still watching. So, oh, this fish tank is disgusting. That one TV's on and the mirror's moved away for some reason. I don't know what's going on over here. Yeah, this is gross. There you go, fish tank. How delightful is that? But look, living fish. Who knows how? Oh, Jared must have taken care of them somehow, because I think I unplugged the. Look at that! I think they're all still alive. I have no idea how. And then food and snacks. And there you go. I'm sorry, that was probably pretty stuttery and not. Oh yeah, and then when we were doing the news show, let's see here, we stood this way, and then the camera pointed this way, right? So this is what the, and then the table wasn't there. So when we were doing news, like that table was this way over here, and you had the TV sitting right over here, and it was basically this shot, right? That was the news. There you go. All right. And there's my ISS above. That did not work. Back to me. Yep. All right. Let's take a peek at comments really quick, and then go from there. Boop. Yeah, that is a gross fish tank. It is really gross. I just figured that they'd be dead. No one's taking. Yeah, I'm not going to fix the fish tank. I'm just not. Let's see here. Live camera app works perfectly. You know, we're going to do this live on the air. Live camera app works with AirPlay without overlays. Live camera app. Okay. Hang on. Oh, I think I'm still airplaying. Where's my Apple TV? Cool. Oh, there's a shot of my. All right, let's see here. App Store. Search live. Is it one word? Camera? Okay. Live camera. No, it's not HD live cam. Camera live. Nope. That's scary. I don't really use NDI because I'm not actually a huge fan. It's got compression and latency issues. Having said that, like for AirPlay, obviously it doesn't matter. But when you're moving video around, I don't like. I'm not going to move it through NDI. Dan can rewire a studio but can't clean a fish tank. No, my fishes. I'm not going to clean the fish tank. Oh. I mean, I just need something that's going to bring the camera up. Let's see here. OBS Ninja. That didn't come up. Live camera cast. Okay, live camera cast. Yeah, you're all watching this happen in real time. Oh, here we go. We'll get that. Ba-bing! Okay, we'll open that. Make sure you have an Apple TV connected up. And start casting back camera. Okay. Oh. I mean, it still has some of the overlays. This is way smoother, though. Look at that. That is so much better. Look at how much better this is. This is great. I wish it didn't have, like, that stuff on the... I guess I can't get rid of that, can I? Wait, can I? Ooh. Okay. Okay. You got to see the take HRT meds. All right. There you go. All right. Hang on. We'll go on a little journey here. This is in the potty. I'd mentioned the zero gravity toilet. Read instructions for use. Yeah. This is the same typeface that they used in the movie and should be word for word. I actually recreated this in Photoshop. I actually took a freeze frame and then I spent nearly a day rebuilding this whole thing and then having it printed out, and I'm really sad because it's printed on really crappy paper. And then they took all the old cabinetry and just kind of dumped it in here. I was like, thanks guys. So there you go. This is our really crappy bathroom that we've not really done anything with. And then they also needed to check for issues over here, which is I believe why they drilled into the drywall. But they didn't seem to have any issues, so they just kind of stopped. And then over here, like we were talking about all of this, right? So here is the main set, and you can kind of see, here's the back graphics and whatnot, and you can see here are the spools of fiber optic cable. Actually, this is a 1,000-foot spool, I think. These 500s are thousands. I think these were thousands. And so I have 1,000-foot spool that's gone. I've got 2 that are left. Now all of that was all of that cable in the back of the rack. But then if you look, we actually wired it all the way down into these jacks down here as well. Right? So we've got SDI ports every few, what is that, every 6 feet or so, all the way down the wall, and then continue down this way also. So I've also got SDI jacks over there. And then those actually just punch. We actually custom cut the cable that goes directly into the side of the camera. So no NDI required. We just go straight SDI in and out. No compression loss, no latency loss. So this is effectively speed of light latency, right? All in 4K. We used to use the fiber optic stuff, but these SFPs keep burning out. So I got sick of that, so I just run that. These cameras are only okay. They work. I call them the iPad cameras. They're not bad. They're a little noisy, which I'm not a huge fan of. And what I really don't like is the MFT glass. I just can't find really great cinema glass that goes on these. But, the cameras are kind of workhorses, right? We've had these for years, and so I can't really complain. And then, yeah, these are those Kinos I was talking about. I'm sorry, they're not Kinos. These are the Quasar Science in Kino frames, right? So that's what they look like when they're all kind of like stuff. And I've got grids on them, and I don't think I have any diffusion. There you go. And then, yeah, that's what the set looks like if I were to kind of crop it out. And fire. And just to show that I take fire prevention seriously. Oh, this wall was supposed to have our logo on it. We never figured that one out. To show that I take fire prevention seriously, I believe I've got another fire extinguisher there, just in case. I even put the signs there. They did not provide these for some reason. I had to provide them myself. And there you go. And these are the speakers that I did not hook back up for Jared. Yep. Oh yeah, that was, it's still a little bit splotchy, but better, right? Not terrible. Okay. Exit the app. Oh, made my phone hot. All right, let's see what we got for comments. Everyone's like, Jamie can't read. Lisa, you missed it. The fish are, in fact, still alive. Let's see here. I got disconnected. Yep, so yes, Lisa, they are still alive. Yep, that was, oh, did it get choppy? Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I mean, so Loopy says you'd be able to crop pad the rest out. Yeah, I could totally do that. I could do that in the Switch. I'm just too lazy. Also, if it got choppy, then that's not cool. Yeah. So this is cheaper than setting up a studio in the basement of your house? Nope. Not by a long shot. Like, this is, I would say this is well over $100,000 in gear. The audio gear alone is over $15,000. This was, I think I screwed up, realistically. I think I should have kept it in my basement. I think that would have eliminated the problem of people trying to take the show too seriously and not willing to let loose. I think it would have eliminated a lot of the processes that people kept trying to build on the show. I wanted to create a magical experience for everyone. And I really thought that the space station set and like being able to bring people in here and like being able to have like an actual control room where we could, like the thought process was, we'd be out on set, we'd be having these conversations, and then like we'd start talking about the space launch system, and then what I can do is I can pop over here, right, and I can go, oh, the space launch system. So I can go space launch system animation, right? Oops, I didn't even type in animation. Okay, we're going to go here instead. So I go to YouTube. So we're talking about space launch, so space launch system animation. And you have to, animation, that's awesome. Right, so go like this, go like this, go like this, and then, I can just like be like, okay, cool, so we're talking about the space launch system. Here's a video about the space launch system as we're talking about it, kind of have these really cool, interesting moments. Or, again, like being able to bring in the chat in real time and being able to kind of cut to things and kind of like enhance what we're talking about and what we're doing. But that's not what happened. Instead, it turned into like making sure that all of the images were in advance, making sure all the videos were in advance, scripting things, making sure that we had like segments timed properly. And by the way, I blame no one but myself. I was the one that was pushing for a lot of this stuff because I didn't actually see the path that I was going down. And once I realized that path, I tried to turn that particular ship, but it's very hard to steer a ship when it's going full speed. So, oh, ambient station noise. Yeah, absolutely. Hold up. I actually don't know if I have Dante working. Nope. So I will have to turn that on. And we're going to turn on ambient station noise, which I do enjoy a great deal. I actually have it. We'll do Voyager sounds. Don't try to use Microsoft Edge. Screw you, Microsoft. So then I use Dante for almost all of my audio routing. And we'll hit play here. And I should have Chrome enabled. And preferences. VIA is so freaking picky. Ethernet. Like, it's like, no, it needs to be this one. General, fine. Still not coming into the board for some reason. Turn you off and back on. Still not coming into the board for some reason. Like, welcome to the every time this computer restarts, what I have to do with frickin' Dante VIA. Yeah, I understand. Cool. And then, like, cool. Still not coming into the board for some reason. I'm going to spend the rest of the show trying to figure this out as soon as I get it going. And you're like, cool, well, we're done. All right, it should be coming in on 11 and 12. Hold up. You can just watch what I'm doing here. There we go. All right, cool. So, yeah, you can see there's actually a route error. What's going on? Oh, okay, so I've got too many routes somewhere. That's interesting. From what? Elevation makes sense. I just recently plugged the audio board back in. Oh yeah, so like all of the Dante via routes are not working. Okay, so what did I say, 11 and 12? So we'll do 11 and 12. Naming must have changed. Ugh. Oh, there we go. Hold up, hold up. How's that? More? I can't hear it because like I don't have right there. Is that too much? Yeah, Athena does have her own channel. Oops. Athena does have her own channel. Let's see here. We'll go back here and here. Astra. Yeah. So all of that to get a little bit of ambient background noise. Sounds like wind. Hold up. I've got a different type of bridge noise if you'd prefer. So this is the Voyager ambient stuff. So I've also got TNG. Better? Worse? Right? All right, there. Wesley Chang, if your last name was Crusher, I would believe you even more. Let's see here. What else we got? Should I leave this video on as an archive or should I unlist it? I feel like this is too random and people would be like, nope, I'm out. Robert has the same background noise. Huh? Cut it back a notch? Yeah, again, I can't hear it, so you guys have to tell me. That's a 3 dB drop. So I cut it back a notch. Oh, he said, Jason, have you tried Windows? Oh, it is Windows. Yeah, actually, we have all platforms here. You saw Raspberry Pi. I've got Windows. I've got Mac OS sitting over here, and I've got Ubuntu on. Nothing available here. And then I've got another effectively iOS device, the Apple TV OS or tvOS, whatever the hell they call it this week. Sam, I don't like the way headset mics look. Normally we would bury the lav. Also, this clip is broken. So we would bury the lav and we'd bury the cable. But the headsets, like I use the headset mics at Company X because I don't have a choice. Like the ambient noise there is so crazy high. And this is what I find to be hilarious, right? So in a good sound environment, there's really not a huge need to use a headset mic. And in fact, in this environment, I could potentially even use a shotgun if I wasn't moving around so much. So the advantage of this mic is that like I can move around. The other problem with the headset mics that you don't think about is you get a lot of mouth noise that you got to kind of eliminate. So you got to really kind of make sure that they're aimed right and positioned right. Now, once you've got them and you got them taped down, they're fine, but they're a really huge pain in the ass to work with. So we use them at Company X because I have to. I actually had to kind of fight to get them. We used to have lavs that were hypercardioids, so they were actually fairly large because they were really focusing down on the sound to try to eliminate everything but talent. And eventually I was like, look, if we just put it right next to the mouth, and there's this huge difference in audio quality. There's still a lot of ambient noise, but at least you can hear the hosts now. And so we started doing that. And then there are other companies, like there are other rocket companies that just copy my crap but don't know why they're doing it, right? So we started seeing like, gotta pick on Rocket Lab. Like they've got talent in a nice little sound controlled room. They should be using a shotgun or they should be using a lapel mic. Those are the appropriate microphones for that application. They're using a Countryman or a DPI, I don't know which one, but they're using a headborne microphone. Why? It's like the worst microphone choice for that particular application. But it's what SpaceX uses. NASA started moving over to those same microphones, but they use it inside of their studio. And I'm like, why are you doing this? This is the worst microphone selection for this particular application. If you're in theater, sure. Or if you're in a high ambient area, if you need to do feedback suppression, sure. But like, think about what you're doing. Think about the aesthetics. Think about the sound quality. Like, you don't want those mouth noises. Anyhow. Yeah, headset, Aaron is not wrong. The other problem with headset microphones is that the elements are tiny, teeny, teeny, tiny, which means that dynamic range is not as good as a really good lapel microphone. Like, the really good ones are literally larger size capsules. So, like, you get worse dynamic range, they're too close to the mouth, so you get mouth noise. Like, why are you doing this? Are you just copying everything I do? Stop it. Aerospace industry, stop it. Anyhow. I'm about whatever. Interesting technical talk aside, I was talking about the old studio, the old feel. I miss the old show. More feel. Exactly. More intimate. Exactly. That's exactly right. I led us astray. I brought us into the new studio space. Now, I do believe that I can, like, I think I can right this ship. I don't think we've hit the iceberg just yet. I think I can fix this. And we fix this by moving into the new format that I talked about earlier in the show, where it's kind of a round table of people around the world having a conversation, very free form, no preset stuff, not highly produced, just very quickly the technical director is able to call up whatever they're talking about and bring it up on screen, kind of creating those magical TV moments. But then most importantly, having this conversation with you. And I think we can get there. Let's see here. No. I mean, Jason, you're not wrong. Copying SpaceX is a compliment. I don't mind it, right? Like, everyone copies the telemetry. I get it. But, like, if you're going to copy, at least do it right. Like, copy the stuff you should be copying. Like, you shouldn't be copying headborne microphones in a studio space. That's just misuse of technology and not understanding the proper tools for the application. I get it. Copy the telemetry on the screen. It's a good idea. Copy the timeline. Roscosmos basically did a one-for-one copy and just removed the black bar underneath it. Like, okay, I get it. It looks cool. It is cool. Sure, I get that. But, like, understand what. You have to understand the why. That's very important. And when I see these other entities copy but not understand the why, they just copy the what, it's like, you missed the point. You actually missed it. Dan says, what if you gave no direction to guests co-hosts? Just say hello, press go, and chat. Yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit of something, right? And this is why I think I need to be on camera. And this is where, again, I'm not super comfortable on camera yet. And so I'm not comfortable going into this setting where I have to kind of, it's different when I'm just sitting here and having a casual conversation with you. Although, let me be clear, still very uncomfortable for me. But it's when I'm actually running a show and, like, wrangling guests and listening to you and building a product, so to speak, you know, that's a little bit easier for people to judge, and it's even more pressure on my shoulders. And so I'm just not there yet. I will be. Like, again, that October 13th face surgery date, I think, will change a lot of stuff, but you got to give me time to heal, because it's going to be gnarly, right? They're breaking my jaw. They're breaking my skull open. Like, there's a whole, it's funny, like, these all sound big and terrible, but it's actually like a same-day surgery, and it's considered minor. Hello from Argentina. Johnny Spacer, I agree. The audience has so much to say and to truly contribute to the conversation. I think it's, it's really, really important. Yeah, and actually, this is another misstep I made. So, I missed the difference between SpaceX broadcasts and TMRO broadcasts. SpaceX and TMRO are very different. And I can't go into a lot of detail, but SpaceX should have that more polished, refined look to it. It still needs to be able to connect to you on an emotional level, but it's a different connection than what TMRO needs to do. And I always included the chat, but I didn't understand the connection. I didn't understand what needed to be done, and I'm not sure I fully do yet. but I'm getting closer. So it is two things. It's me wrapping my head around the shows, but then it's also me wrapping my head around me and being comfortable with me. Hello, the Kerbal King is going well. Inverted. I'm clubbing my skeleton into the shape that it's supposed to be. Yep. I will talk about this more on the Jamie's Bits channel, I think, sometime, where we'll go over, hopefully I'll be able to get like some front shots and some side shots. Really from the side you can tell there's some very prominent male markers in my face. Like noses, oh yeah, nose is getting touched, cheek, it's all the way down, right? So brow, so hairline, brow, nose, cheeks, lip distance, chin, and then a shaving contour, mandible contouring, I believe it's called. Yeah, this is exactly it. And this is a point I missed. Tomorrow is for the people. This is for us. It's for our humanity. It's for the love of it, right? For nothing more, truly nothing more than the love of it, than the love of the cosmos, the love of rocketry, the love of the technology, the love of space, the love of astronomy, the love of all of it. That's what tomorrow is. Now, SpaceX is there for those things and enjoys those things, but that's not. They are here to advance humanity. They're here to put humans on Mars. It's a very different thing, and the shows need to be different because of that. And it's I didn't have my head fully wrapped around that. Like it took me a really long time to realize that. Oh, Johnny Spacer says, please be careful with just plastic surgery. Don't get addicted to it. Yeah, I want to minimize. So I don't like surgery, and I'd like to minimize it. I don't want to have a lot of it. So there are 3 fundamental surgeries: face, top, and bottom. The big one for me is bottom. That is the most important one to me, and it's really, frankly, personal because no one else will know. How would you know? But I know, and it's the one that really, really, at a deep, fundamental level, hurts. And has for a long time. And unfortunately, it will be the last surgery, I think. I'm going with a doctor because I'm bougie. I'm going with a doctor who has a 4-year waiting list. It's Dr. Marcy Bowers in Northern California, and I got on her waiting list in 2019, so I have a date in 2023, and that just seems like it's forever away. Hopefully, I can wait that long. We'll see. The Kerbal King, as a space and video nerd, I love what you're doing, but very jealous of your studios. I mean, this is a passion of love. Also, like, mostly out of my own pocket, so it's very expensive. This bit of hair is driving me crazy. Dan asks, can I ask why Company X does not show telemetry of both stages until landing? Yes, you can ask. This is an interesting point. Yes, tomorrow's for the people that love science and etc., but by putting a professional feel to it, it drew in professionals to talk to us, the people. Yeah, that's fair too. I think there's a balancing act there that needs to occur. We can't feel like we're just out of our... See, I think we're in the perfect spot if I can just figure it out. So there's kind of the basement studio, not that I don't love him, but like Tim Dodd basement studio, right? It's nowhere near this caliber. It's small. It's not a professional studio, but he's making, like, that's a great feeling for him. I wouldn't want him to do anything else. It's very personable. This studio, it kind of has that professional, like, holy shit feel to it. And I feel like I can use that to create an amazing show and bring on amazing guests, but I can't let the studio overwhelm the show or the guests themselves, which I think has been happening. So I don't necessarily need to scale the studio back. I just need to loosen the show up a little bit. All right, Inverted, you have a great time, great sleepy time. I'm going to be leaving soon. Aerospike asks how I keep current on non-SpaceX stuff. I'm a space nerd, so I read all of the sites, right? Space News, NASA Space Flight's my first go-to. Space Flight Now, Space News, Ars Technica. Eric Berger from Ars is a really great resource as well. I like him a lot. So yeah. Oh yeah, you guys just now got, yeah, yes, you can ask. Dan asks, okay, part 2, why? Yep. This is a great question, Dan. I think I'm going to end on this one because I think it's time for me to go home. It's after 8 p.m. and I do have a big day tomorrow. When you have a vision of something, go in a particular way and it's perfect. How do you deal with it not going exactly that way? Do you struggle with letting someone go and grow organically? Something go, I'm sorry, and grow organically. I had this exact issue with something at Company X. I had something that was my baby, that it was something that I brought in from the Space Vidcast days, that I brought to the table, no one was doing. It was an amazing thing. Implemented and did it at SpaceX, and I was very particular about every single aspect of this thing. There was a reason for everything. Everything had a purpose. Everything helped to tell the story. And I spent a lot of time thinking about the story and the purpose and how to really make it exceptional. And we deployed it. And then it was used for a long time. And then we changed it. But when we changed it, we didn't think about the story. We didn't think about the purpose. And we took my baby, and it felt like we harmed my baby. And it had grown to the point where I no longer had control of it. And so I fought. Don't get me wrong. I fought, and I fought until I was blue in the face. But in the end, I just had to let go. And I did. Maybe too much. Because now I'm like, I don't know, not my problem. Yeah. It was hard. I'm not going to lie. It was really hard because that was my big contribution. For a long time, that was my big contribution. And I'm hopeful that someday, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, they won't listen to me, which is fine. They don't have to. And maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong too. Who knows? I've been wrong many times. I can't talk about what it was. That's correct. But they won't listen to me. So hopefully they'll learn on their own. They'll understand slowly why they've made I know already, I can see that they're mistakes. I can see that they don't flow the same way. I can see that the story is negatively impacted by these things. But I haven't been able to convince them of this. And so I'm hopeful that they will learn over time, be like, well, can we do this? It's like, well, no, because we've broken the story, or we've broken the way that this infrastructure works, or like we were supposed to, move into this new phase and we opted not to, and all of that was in this other section. And what I had kind of hoped was all of this will come to light and they'll go, okay, well, you were right. But that never actually happened. What ended up happening was going, okay, I guess we just can't do that. And it's like, oh, fuck. So someday, it goes in cycles, right? Someday. But this was very hard. I had to let go of it. And I absolutely had to that was a huge struggle for me. But I do think that I learned to, during this particular process, because of how attached I was to this specific project, and how passionate I was. For anyone who knows me and who was working with me, I was flipping tables passionate about this thing. Like, I can't believe we're doing this. I learned a lot from that. I approached all of it wrong because I approached it very aggressively of like, I'm right and you're wrong, and I gave them no opportunity for compromise. And as soon as you do that, like, then it's me versus them, and I will always lose against everyone else. And so, I mean, ultimately, I have no one to blame but me because I approached it the wrong way. So I did learn, like, not to ever do that again. But yeah, anyhow, that was... Yeah, Aaron, this is... events are always about the story. I learned this doing sports years ago. The story is king. It's, yeah, like... Yeah, I agree. And it's not just about the rocket. It's about the people and the stories behind the people and the stories about how all of that got the rocket to where it's at right now. The rocket is part of the story. Like, you can't just ignore the rocket and pretend like it's only people. Like, there's this great moment there's this lean forward moment in the last 10 seconds or so where like your breathing changes and you're kind of like leaning into your screen of like, what's going to happen to this rocket? Like, let's go, let's do this. And it's kind of this epic, like, pinnacle of the story, and it's so important to get that right. It's so important to get that right. And yeah, that actually leads, yep. The cripple says, I hope the final description on the pad graphic will change. I don't know what that means, but probably everything changes. Loopy says, Tim is using the same comments on Screen System. Yeah, that's correct. Tim uses TMRO Cosmo, or at least the predecessor, for his stuff as well. This was all built for us by Colton. So yeah, it's our engine driving everything. Tim Dodd does it. Tim Dodd uses it as well. All right, I think that's it for me. I hope everyone had a delightful evening. I know I certainly had fun, and I look forward to doing these sometime again in the future. Again, my facial surgery is October 13th, and so the live shows on a regular basis will be after that. Realistically, we're probably looking at early 2021, but I will attempt to come back on camera before then. It does really depend on my comfort level and like how much time availability I have. But yeah. So thank you everyone for joining me. Jared, the studio works again, so there you go. And have a good night.